Welcome to the Mid-Ohio Valley Public Forum video podcast. This podcast features issues of interest to the residents of the Mid-Ohio Valley area. The coronavirus pandemic has changed civic life greatly throughout our country.
This is an election year, and one of the changes has been that candidates are not able to campaign the way they normally would. Normally, they'd be going to public events and meeting and greeting the voters and talking to them, and they can't do that this year.
So many of our initial podcasts will feature interviews with candidates for local and state office. If you're a candidate and you're interested in being interviewed, you can reach out to us through our Facebook page at MOV Public Forum or via email, movpublicforum@gmail.com.
Today, we're interviewing Douglas Hughes. Doug is a candidate for West Virginia governor. Welcome, Doug. We're so glad you could join us this evening.
Hello, how are you?
We're fine.
Well, yes. So, Douglas, give us your best 1-minute introduction pitch speech.
I'm a lifetime mountaineer, and so has my family for years. I was born in Work County, went to school in Beckley, graduated from Huntington East, and I live in Logan. I have relatives in Martinsburg, and I've been in the other panhandle a lot, and I'm trying to get this government to correct what it's done wrong has led me to run for office.
Well, Doug, all candidates are different. What skills and experience and education do you have that you feel sets you apart from the other candidates?
Well, take environment, for instance. I was the only candidate that signed to be in Marshall University's environmental forum before it got canceled, of course. And I have a wide education, and I've worked with the people in West Virginia my entire life. I know them and their wants and desires. We need to take back our state from special interests. They've run this state for my entire life that I can recognize.
So that sounds like that may answer our next question. We'd like to know what's your main motivation that made you decide to step up and run for office?
Primarily in the last few years, I've been a hospital patient and disabled veteran advocate. And I'm contacted every day by people on the verge of committing suicide. The drug policy in this state is absolutely horrendous. I'm running on a mostly platform-only run because of what's going on in the state. We're wasting all of our tax dollars and killing people to boot.
So, Doug, what do you think is your wow factor? What is the one thing that would make what's the one thing about you that would make someone say, wow, I'm going to vote for that guy?
Well, I'm the only one that has a concrete policy, proactive addiction prevention initiative, which will take the current policies don't even address addiction prevention. They only address drug recovery. Special interest has made it an industry. And I also have a plan for the future to save the hospitals that are going broke. We can make this is a unique, once in a millennium opportunity for this state to become the injury rehab center of the East Coast.
That sounds interesting. If you're elected, tell us one thing you'd like to accomplish during your term in office.
Well, obviously, return control of the state tax revenue to the taxpayer. And I've also got a plan to set up a call center, a fully staffed call center, to understand the wants and needs of the taxpayers and where they want their taxpayer dollars spent once we get them back.
Well, Doug, I'm over 60 years old, and I think every candidate for governor that I can remember has promised to bring more jobs to West Virginia. And yet, here we are, shedding more jobs and becoming poorer all the time. How do you plan to do what so many other candidates have promised to do and have not been able to do?
The entire problems in our state in the last 18 years that I can prove has been a special interest of running everything. You name it. They snuck in, the new kind of schools,
Charter
schools, and they combine our other schools in order to pay for them. They close other schools down just to cut corners to pay for them. It's just ridiculous, and the problems are so obvious to someone like me. I don't know. Maybe it is me because I'm not tech savvy, and I do a lot of reading and research, especially on what's going on. I clearly see what's going on. Like Elizabeth Warren, I've got a plan.
She had a plan for everything, didn't she? Access to high-speed, reliable internet is holding our state back from becoming what it needs to be. What's your plan for getting affordable, reliable, high-speed broadband internet access to all the corners of the state?
Well, once our tax dollars are no longer squandered on special interests, the wealth enhancement they'll bring will give us a financial posture of strength to demand advanced systems and the development. We can also demand providers and developers to give us the best the best systems and the best way of doing it. But you got to have money to do that.
Well,
we don't have money.
Yeah,
Sorry.
That's okay. I didn't mean to step on you. Everyone knows that West Virginia has been losing population for decades. We educate our children, they go off to university, get an education, and leave. And nobody's coming in to the state, moving in to replace them. So what kind of plan do you have to turn this around? So we talked about, a few other things, but are there, besides broadband services and keeping tax money in the state, what else do you think you could do to reverse that?
Well, like I said, this is a unique opportunity to not only open the closed hospitals, but to become a major center for rehabilitation, not drug rehab like we are now. We sure don't need drug rehab. And of my kids, all three are Marshall University graduates. Two of them left the state, and the other one has a good job here. But I know why they left. I know what would bring them back, and it's not going to be more minimum wage jobs. For a lady to afford a third minimum wage job to raise a child's absurd. There's many opportunities. The Hatfield-McCoy system is a good example. Another one developed in the northern or northwest quadrants where in an already depressed area would be a boon for that area, and many others. West Virginians are smart. They've got an entrepreneurial abilities they don't know of, and an entire state to develop, or actually not develop, but to enjoy.
So we are often our harshest critics. What would you say is your worst quality and your best quality?
If you cannot tell, I've never been a public speaker, but this is just something I promised a couple thousand people I'd do. So I'm trying to think of what your question was.
We asked what's your worst quality and your best quality. I think
Okay.
you're clearly brave enough to step up and run. I think that's taken. There not a lot of people are doing that. Our gubernatorial field is a dozen deep or so. So you've done that.
Right. Yeah, but they're all just telling you the same things you heard 4 years ago. My best is that I'm results oriented, and the worst maybe is that I just can't accept failure. I wanted to. I'm lost on the question mostly. I can't judge myself.
That's a hard question.
Yeah.
With that, the last few questions we have are just to get to know you, the person, not the candidate.
Okay.
If you had to pick one place or thing in our state that's your favorite, not the people, we all love West Virginians. What would you say is your favorite place or thing in our state?
Well, when I was an environmental permit writer, we had a lot of meetings in Canaan Valley at a lodge where you had a big picture window that looked right at Bald Knob. I think that's the name of it, Canaan Valley. That's a lovely part of the state. There's just so many places to pick. Where my brother-in-law lives in Martinsburg, that country's beautiful. I like where I live in Logan.
Well, that's where I'm from. I love it down there too.
Yeah.
So, Doug, what are your own personal core values?
Well, as I'm a Christian and as an advocate, my compassion for these people I talk to, sorry, gets to me a lot of times. The suffering people are having from what this drug policy is doing to people. You wouldn't believe it. It could be changed, and it's just so obvious what's wrong. They have never addressed, I'm supposed to be talking about me. Sorry.
That's okay. You go right ahead.
It's just, I don't know.
Well, it sounds like caring about others is a core value of yours. It sounds like, too, that the next question is, what are you passionate about? It sounds like you're passionate about advocating for others. What else are you passionate about?
Yeah, a lot of things. My wife taught 10 years of grade school and 25 years in high school science. And if you want to reform education, ask a teacher first. I'm passionate about. Like I said, the people I talk to every day, it's just sad that this policy is forcing people to replace legitimate pain treatment with street drugs, and that's accelerating the drug crisis, but yet they say it's something different than what it is. They're attacking doctors, and the doctor-patient relationship's been just destroyed. But yet in this pandemic, they want the doctors to take care of it one day, and the next day they don't. You better go with your most educated, especially when it comes to your own health.
So, Doug, what do you enjoy doing in your off time?
Well, before all this craziness, just be with my 6 grandkids and to help my children. I wanted to really retire and paint clouds. I painted through the late 70s and early 80s, and I had paintings in doctors' offices and banks, and even a library and a couple other places. And I did antique restoration for a long time. In fact, I had the centerpiece in the Antique Roadshow there in Charleston, and they even had it as their screensaver when they were in town.
Wow.
A piece that I restored.
I have a couple pieces that need restored right now.
Oh, if I showed you some of the things I'd done, you'd knock your eyes out.
Well, that sounds pretty unique. What else is unique about you as a person?
I've lived everywhere. I've worked every job. I've been a short order cook and a laborer and a equipment operator, a supervisor, a state employee, a union employee. I've worked in the mine workers 6 years, UMWA 6 years, or no, yeah, both AFL-CIO 4 years. I was a prep plant supervisor 9, a surface mine foreman 3, and I was environmental permit writer 12. I know all the people, and I know what they want and what they would benefit by. Other than that,
that sounds like an interesting life story, for sure.
Yeah, as a public speaker, I'm sure some of the slick ones you talk to really give better answers.
I think candid answers are the best. I appreciate honesty and candidness. With that, we've come to the end. We'd like to give you a few minutes to tell us and the voters anything you feel like we need to know, including how to find out about your campaign, get in touch with you, donate, etc.
The address to my web pages, which since I haven't taken any contributions, this was only a platform-only run that I promised people I would do. I can lead this state out of this horrific thing we're in. I can save a lot of people. I can save the hospitals. I can even make a new industry other than addiction recovery. Without a solid policy like I have on my Facebook page, which I hope you got the address. It's a big long bunch of numbers and letters and stuff. I have no help doing this run since it's just an offer and policy only
We'll
run.
put that link with your video.
I think I sent it to you.
You did.
Okay. I really appreciate you ladies getting together a forum like this. There needs to be more of that to enlighten some of the people around the state. This virus thing has just killed me. I planned on making this a referendum on the drug policy, and I've already challenged everybody to debate me on the facts of the drug issue, because there are no facts that they can point to where their policy has done anything except made it worse. And I plan on taking back, states have the constitutional right to be responsible for health and safety of their people. West Virginia's given that up to the federal government. I'll take that back. I'll take care of the people who got hurt in the mines.
Well, Doug, we really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us this afternoon, and we are glad that you could do this and get this information out to the voters. So thank you so much for talking.
I thank you all more.
And everyone, remember, wash your hands.